All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Marakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Ruel. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect, the Bayat, the Awadah, the house of David. This is Brother Malak coming back at you with this truth. I got one scripture that I just want to give you, brothers, right? And then we're going to play this video because this is what's going on, right? You see, matter of fact, two scriptures. Matter of fact, let's get this here scripture first. Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord Yahweh. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Okay? Let me get Isaiah 54. Isaiah 54:16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth the instrument for his work. Whose work? Yahweh. Right? Ultimate World War III. You see, that's the end all be all. Okay? And I created the waster to destroy, and the waster is an ICBM intercontinental ballistic missile. All right? That's what's going to waste away this place. Babylon the Great and Israel, but Israel is going to be rebuilt back up. Now, without further ado, let's go and play this video. It says Russia builds world's first nuclear-powered cruise missile that flies for days. Let's play this.
The United States may have turned geopolitics into a reality show, but Russia is making weapons the world has never seen before. One missile in particular has raised alarm bells in the West. The weapon is called the Burevestnik, or Skyfall. This is the world's first and only nuclear-powered cruise missile. It can fly non-stop for hours, even days, and loop around the Earth. Russia's President Vladimir Putin calls it the most invincible weapon. But NATO calls it a flying Chernobyl. Reports say this missile is an environmental nightmare because it leaks radioactive material along its entire flight path. So how does the Burevestnik really work? And is it as disastrous as the West claims? Our next report tells you more.
Imagine a weapon so unhinged that even at the height of the Cold War, when Washington and Moscow were caught in an arms race, both sides looked at the blueprint of a particular cruise missile and said, this is too insane. Fast forward to today though, and Russia has built the weapon anyway. We are talking about a missile named the Burevestnik. NATO and the West call it the Skyfall. It is the world's first and only nuclear-powered, nuclear-capable missile. So what makes the Skyfall unique, and how is it different from other cruise missiles? Well, a conventional cruise missile uses either a jet fuel or solid fuel booster. It is fast, but it is limited by its gas tank. Once the fuel runs out, the missile drops dead. The Burevestnik, on the other hand, comes with two boosters. First, the solid fuel booster lobs the missile into the air, then a mini nuclear reactor that has been installed in the missile kicks in. And because a tiny amount of nuclear fuel can burn for weeks, the Burevestnik can keep flying for days and make a full circle around the Earth. According to Russia, the weapon has an infinite range. It has already been test-fired. And it flew non-stop for 15 hours, covering 14,000 kilometers. In comparison, the average cruise missile has a maximum flight time of a few minutes, with a maximum range of 2,000 kilometers. Clearly, the Skyfall beats the conventional cruise weapons by a long shot. Russian President Vladimir Putin first announced the weapon in 2018. By 2025, Russian scientists had delivered the finished product. Since then, Moscow has carried out several secret tests of the missile. Putin has even awarded Russia...
This is what the Lord is putting in the minds of these kings, in the minds of these smiths, to create these military weapons, to create these ICBM intercontinental hypersonic missiles, all types of missiles, ICBM intercontinental ballistic missiles, everything. This is all the Lord's work. This is all Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's work, now. You know?
Scientists for developing a mini nuclear reactor that can be fit into the Burevestnik.
The result you have achieved is, without exaggeration, of historic significance for our nation, ensuring security and strategic parity for decades to come. one could confidently say for the entire 21st century. In terms of range, Burevestnik has surpassed all known missile systems in the world. It has high target accuracy, which it achieves clearly and confidently at the pre-calculated time.
And here's why the missile is a game changer. With an infinite range, this missile can completely shatter the entire architecture of Western air defense systems. Currently, the West relies on Patriot and THAAD systems for defending against missiles. However, these are optimized for intercepting ballistic missiles which have a fixed trajectory. The Burevestnik doesn't fly into space. Instead, it flies for days. It can be launched from Russia and made to fly over the Arctic or the Pacific. It can be made to wrap around Africa and South America before it is ordered to strike. The missile can just loiter for as many days as the operator wants before it zooms into its target. There is no air defense system in the world that can keep tracking an incoming missile for that long, especially a weapon like the Burevestnik that can come close to its target, then speed away, only to come back again after a few days. However, the US may have figured out a way to track this missile. Researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology have been tracking Russia's missile program. The published research shows that the missile leaves behind a trail of radioactive dust along its flight path. According to the study, the extreme heat generated by the mini-reactor corrodes the body of the missile. So, the longer it stays airborne, the more it spreads radioactive debris into the wind. While the weapon remains the first of its kind in missile technology, it threatens the lives of innocents if the missile flies over them. The leaking radioactive material is also an ecological disaster, as it threatens water systems and environmentally sensitive zones. Which brings us to the question, why is Russia operating a weapon that can be so dangerous? Well, Putin has defined two primary reasons for developing the Burevestnik. First is geopolitical necessity. Russia can't match the enormous military budgets of the US and its NATO allies. So, they have invested heavily in asymmetric weapons like missiles and drones. And second is risk tolerance. According to Moscow, if a Burevestnik missile does end up leaking radioactive debris, it is in extremely tiny amounts that won't have any lasting impact. And most importantly, the Burevestnik, also dubbed Putin's pet project, is more than just a weapon. It is a political statement by the Kremlin. Russia still has cutting-edge military technology. This missile is a testament of that. Russia remains perfectly willing to build the world's first missile that is powered by a nuclear reactor, even if it puts doubts on the safety of civilians that are in the vicinity of the missile's flight path.